Hi everyone, hope you're doing well. My name's Lily and today I'm going to be taking a little bit of time to speak to you about some of the reasons that I thought about when choosing where to study my A-levels. Some of the reasons why I chose Llanishen, some reasons that looking back now I would like to have heard when thinking about where to study, and also some of the opportunities that you have access to as a student in the sixth form which maybe you weren't aware of before. So just going to start off with a little introduction about myself. I'm a first year law student at Cardiff University. But I studied at Llanishen right the way through from year 7 until year 13, and while I was in the sixth form I studied geography, maths, English literature and psychology as my A-levels. So one of the things I took into consideration, I'd say probably the biggest thing that affected where I chose to study, was the fact that I'd already had my length of time in Llanishen and I knew it wasn't a network which I wanted to swap out for anything else. I had such a good time studying there so far and I just thought I'd really like to build on this, and I'm so glad I did, because having this network in place already, being in a supportive place with supportive staff, knowing the school, knowing the pupils around me, it definitely helped then to get on to a bit of a harder level of studying where you need to be asking questions to teachers, questions with each other. It makes it all a little bit easier, and especially in uncertain times that we are in now, I know you've probably heard that phrase all the time, but it's definitely takes off a bit of stress and a bit of pressure for you, and that familiarity makes everything a little bit easier. So that's something that I really want to stress, and probably the main thing that affected my decision about where I was going to study. It also means that there's quite a close relationship within the sixth form community with support staff such as Miss Lloyd and Mrs Jones, and also between the year 12s, the year 13s. There's an opportunity to have charity events. We used to have integrations which I don't think can go ahead at the minute because of safety precautions in place, but I'm sure as soon as they do come back in, you'll appreciate then that this is quite a unique thing to the sixth form. We're such a close community, and it's definitely something that, yeah, like I said, makes your time a lot easier. But don't let that deceive you into thinking that you can't meet new people. A lot of the friends that I really get on with today were people that I met in classes who I hadn't had the opportunity to speak to because maybe they'd been on the other side of the year previously. So yeah, don't let that deceive you. It's definitely a place where you can make new friends, even if they have all been in the school with you throughout this time. And next I just want to speak about some of the opportunities that I had access to as a student there. Obviously I can't speak for all the opportunities that are in place, but one of the ones that I really took advantage of was the Sarah network. So this was a network of people who had all got a certain level of A-stars at GCSE, and it was an opportunity to start asking questions to people who could most definitely answer them about university really early on. It definitely helped me to think about some of the different routes that I could go down, because I really wasn't sure when I first came into sixth form, and that's a point I'd just like to go off as well. Don't be stressed out if you're not 100% sure what you want to do in uni yet, or even if you want to go to uni at all. The sixth form has access to such a big network of people who can help you out with any queries you've got about going to university, not going to university, Network 75, maybe you want to do an apprenticeship. So there's lots of people you can ask, and this is such a good place to be to ask those questions. But if you've got something that you're really specifically interested in, the sixth form is bound to know someone as well. And the last point I'd just like to make is there's also an emphasis on going as far as you can with the ability that you've got. So one of my friends is lucky enough to be studying in Oxford University at the minute, but the university isn't shut off to people who go to Llanishen. Just because we're a state school, you still have access to these opportunities, and the sixth form really push you to be able to do so. So it's such a good environment to be in for people of all levels of ability, and for people who want to do science or art, anything. The spectrum is so big and there's such a lot of opportunity here. This is the place you need to be to get into all these different routes, okay? So yeah, that's all I've got to say today, but I just want to finish by saying that if you have any questions about maybe any of the A-levels that I took, any more questions about the opportunities, or any questions about law at university or university life in general, don't be worried to get in touch with me, that's fine. You can just ask Miss Lloyd for my email if you want any help. So yeah, thank you for listening to me today, and I hope you all enjoy the rest of your evening.